This is WEBurlesque.
Hey y'all, Miss Aurora Borealis here.
My name's Lorena.
Hi, this is Ruby Tesla.
Hi, this is Vena Kahlo.
You're listening to WEBurlesque Season 10 with Zara Estelle.
Get right into it. This is WEBurlesque, the podcast, and I am your host, Viktor Devonne. And through the miracle of fiber optics, I get to talk to people in burlesque, drag, and cabaret. And today is no exception, for I have the elusive Obscura Fox on the line. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me, my dear.
My pleasure. So, why Obscura? Where does that come from?
When I was going through the Show Them Burlesque Academy, shout out to Mix Puxaplenty and Lavish the Jewel, I was given kind of a character sheet,
Mm,
for our persona for the 8, 10 weeks, whatever it was. And I was writing things out, my favorite sort of costuming, how I want people to feel when I get off stage, that sort of thing. And I was with my spouse, and he's really good at words and shit. And he was like, well, how about Obscura? Like mystery, mysterious, blah, blah, blah. And he got to obscure. And I was like, Obscura. And Foxy's been a nickname that I've had since the 90s.
mm.
And so it kind of like fed into that. And then the Fox is sly and coy and all that good stuff. So that's how we got here.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because you're getting noticed. So obscurity is just in the distance, but it's nice to have,
Thank
sense of
you. Thank you.
fusion. Uh, so when you were working with Lavish and Pucks, had you already been aware for a long time about what burlesque was as a statement?
Yes. Yeah, very well aware. I started burlesque in 2022, but have been performing since I was a little youngin. So I've been exposed to a lot of different forms of dance and, you know, um, have studied a lot of different things. American Fusion belly dance is the thing that I've studied the longest. And so sometimes in some communities, there is kind of like an overlap or a kind of like sisterhood
Hmm.
between belly dance and burlesque.
That's what
And
I
go
just
ahead.
want to point out. The audience doesn't know this, but you have a cat on your screen, and my cat just showed up. So we have a little Hero and Leander moment right here. Just a little
Yes.
literary reference. Oh my goodness. Oh. Sorry,
Yeah.
I had to acknowledge that kismet. That's so funny. They both knew. They both knew.
Exactly.
Do you want
He
a
loves to
snack
come
in there?
around when I am on calls with people.
Naturally, he needs his moment.
Hmm.
He's shifting right now between me and the husband because the husband and I are both happen to be on Zoom calls at the moment because that's life right now.
That's the life right.
Um, but it's funny. He chose right when you were supposed to. So sorry, he interrupted, and therefore I did as well.
No, you're good.
Uh,
So yeah, and when I moved to Portland, I started getting kind of cast in burlesque shows as well. People were like, "I like
hmm,
what you're doing."
mhm,
I was performing strictly belly dance back then, but kind of made the leap because I don't mind being naked, and um, it's political. I'm brown, I'm
yeah,
fat, I'm queer, all of the
yeah.
things. So
I think we're of a certain age as well, right? I'm 42. Are we in the
yes,
relatively same? Yeah. And that means that when I met you, what, in 20, was it 22?
yeah,
You had just started then.
yes, burlesque, yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
And that was at the Burlesque Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And what a year that ended up being.
Hmm.
And what a fabulous several number of years since. But you come from the after times. That's
Yes.
so what is it like to experience burlesque with a bunch of jaded pre-pandemicers?
It's been interesting. I think I come from this kind of weird spot where I've been performing forever, but I'm new to a dance form and coming into it
Sure.
in my late 30s.
Hmm.
But I think that because I've been performing and I understand that world and I'm in my late 30s, I can kind of understand why someone would be like, this shit sucks. It was better in 2005. And I'm like, looking at it, it probably was better in 2005, but this is what
But
I got
looking
to
at
work
it, we hear that also when people talk about 1996.
with.
So it's, the grass is always greener decades earlier.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
But yeah, it's been
And
interesting. I like to like pull knowledge from folks. Like
mm,
I'm down to hear people reminisce about back then and back in the day. Because sometimes there's patterns and I'm like, oh, they've popped up again.
cycles. Yeah. Really, really. And I think for a lot of reasons it's because since it's a for us by us situation a lot of times, like our audiences are other burlesque performers, burlesque minded individuals, you kind of have to be sort of left of center to be a fan already
Hmm.
because you have to be accepting of different bodies, of different gender expressions, of different skin tones,
Hmm.
all of these things together, or you're going to have a miserable time.
Yes. Yes. I mean, unless you live in certain markets, but yes, if you live someplace like Portland or um,
Yeah, yeah, but
Seattle.
I'm finding those are being challenged at the very
Oh yeah.
least,
Yes.
and very often those are very casual fans. They're almost
Mhm.
tourists. So I
Yes.
think there's a very distinctive difference between a burlesque city crowd
And a tourist.
and a tourist.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just also just my estimation.
Well, there is nuance.
But you enjoy working in the PNW.
Yeah, it's probably the farthest that any of my movement careers have ever gone. I found myself, as it were, both inside and outside of my art, since moving here in 2016, and it's been great. It's been hard, but it's been great.
What is the inside and outside of your art?
Um, the inside of my art is just being able to perform, getting paid regularly,
Mm.
traveling, not as much as I would like, but putting that out in the universe that it's going to happen. And just personally, like being able to be outwardly queer and all of the different ways in which I love, and even down to getting those Doc Martens that I really wanted in 1996, and my parents, they couldn't afford it, but even if they could, they would have never purchased them for me. So,
Mm.
honoring that 17-year-old that, wanted to walk around with pentagrams and bats and Doc Martens and leather jackets and kiss girls and all that other good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you're an alt goth too. You have this sort of uh high concept theatricality that does seem to be drenched in almost like this Robert Smith, Susie Sue friendliness about
Yeah.
it. Um, because it's charming and mysterious, sure, but it's not um scary. Does that make
Hmm.
sense? It's not
Yeah.
necessarily aggressive in
Yes.
its production.
It's
Uh,
assertive, but it is not aggressive.
yeah. And I had
Mhm.
the great pleasure of seeing you at a peer review at BurlyCon where you did an act, and I believe that very same act you just did as a feature at Fatlesque. Was that the same act?
It was the same act. I wasn't a feature one
It was
day,
a feature.
but yes, that was the act. I had created that for the festival I produce, Umbre Noctis, or co-produce. So it was The Cure. But yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What is it like to go through the process of peer review? I was recently talking to Zara Estelle about the concept of sort of mentorship as well as instruction and it being so personal for a lot of us. But you have to be really vulnerable and allow yourself
Mhm.
space to get critique.
Yeah. It's the only way we grow. I'm used to critique as far as my art goes, um, because of, marching band, ballet, modern dance, like all of those things. So it's not new to me.
Mm.
I think more of peer review on that scale was new to me. I wasn't worried,
Full
given
audience.
kind of, yeah, the audience that the peer review was for, who the,
Mm.
who the moderators were. Um, but it was also interesting to see the completely different ways people were like, I would fucking love this if you did this. And then someone else would be like, I would fucking love this if you did not do that.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
we all have different needs as audience members as well. And that particular one, I know Lux Lacroix was there. I know Queerly Fantastic was there.
Mhm.
Golden Mystique emceed it, but I don't know if they offered commentary as well. I don't recall.
Yeah.
Um, what about that discussion in front of an audience where
Mhm.
you just literally got naked in front of everyone and then sit there and then hear feedback about how it went? Um, what do you feel that you learned from what their critiques were that you then applied to this now finished act, which has
Mhm.
now been at a legit huge sold out festival?
Yeah. Um, I think specifically Lux had said to for me to walk across the stage and take my time to not just come out.
Mm,
So when I did it the first time at Umbre Noctis, that's what I did. But given the kind of drama and theatrics that was available to me at the Triple Door,
mhm,
starting a song called Alone about being alone and being alone on stage in a spotlight, that still to me felt like Lux's kind of suggestion, but in a different form.
mhm,
So you were still able to take me in, but I wasn't
mhm.
moving.
There's a instinction, I think, that a lot of us have to get through it and move and walk and run and always be going.
Hmm.
And I mean, to that end, that's why there are so many people that are now focusing on stillness
Yeah.
as an art and taking one's time. I know that I've been on the rush side of things. 4.5 minutes is not enough time for
Mm-mm.
some reason, and self-editing is hard. And
Yeah.
then you get to the end of it, you're like, I still have a minute, and I took everything off.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Uh, and I mean, and to that end, sometimes you're just in the mode. You don't think about it. You sort of have to um, pay attention to not only your own cues, but also what's happening,
In the room, as it were.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So as someone who seems to specialize in fairly emotional pieces, uh, at the very least vulnerable pieces, is there a way that you prepare yourself for that kind of vulnerability in front of everyone? Do you look past people?
Um, it depends.
Mm,
As far as like how I prepare myself like beforehand, I do this whole like body scan thing where I figure out where what I'm feeling in my body physically.
okay,
And one, it's injury prevention because if I'm not thinking about it, I'll hurt myself.
okay.
But two, to kind of figure out what I want to showcase as far as skills and where I am emotionally and how I am or am not going to channel that through the audience. Um, I love floor shows because I like to get up and close into people's
Mhm.
faces. That is definitely when I'm like looking people directly in the eye. That's where Puck's got the unseelie and scare arousal part of my tagline. Just kind of a little trickstery, a little slightly threatening, but also what's going on in my pants? Um, and because I am a baby goth elder emo person,
Mm.
I just live in my feelings all the time. And I don't know, it just it just comes out, and sometimes I'm like, "Ooh, I didn't realize that was a feeling I had." And sometimes I receive it from the people. Um, yeah.
Yeah. As someone who, I mean, I began a lot of my, so I've been doing this just under 20 years, and 20 years ago, I was going through some stuff. And so I decided to channel a lot of my burlesque into what was then referred to by a lot of people as like sadlesque. And it was really fun. It was interesting juxtaposition because the painted face. We have an interesting American relationship with clowns and
Yes.
mimes, and I was already avoiding like the Ringling Brothers clown, which
Mhm.
has history
Yes.
that we don't necessarily need to get into. But worth a Google, folks. And more interested in the Commedia dell'arte and the Pierrot and the German Eurocentric
Mhm.
positioning of the clown as a figure, as
Mhm.
opposed to a literal guy who knew how to juggle. Like
Right.
that was more of my vibe. And that really lent itself really easy into the ballads. So I became pretty known for that. But most of White Elephant, when we began, there was such a separation from the audience, and it was not a tipping culture in the same way. There'd be a hat at the end of the show,
Right.
but there wasn't like going up to an audience and collecting. I feel like a lot of that emotionality would have been very different if I had been in a position where I was so close to an audience in a tipping culture where they would have not interrupted my act, but contributed in that way that I would then have to reflect on it.
Mhm.
As someone where that is your reality on occasion, what is that like basically monetizing in the present uh, while being vulnerable?
Yeah. Um, well, I think the caveat I think to this is I have my like theater acts,
Sure.
and then I have my, you know, I'm gonna be shaking my ass at a bar sort of thing.
Mm,
And so as far as the emotions that come with kind of like the floor show, kind of looking people in the face, um, I'm just used to improving for better or worse. Having kind of an intention that I'm going to put out there, and at the same time knowing if someone's like feeling enraptured by what I've got going on, then I'm going to continue to enrapture them a little bit longer, to kind of give that person the energy back that they're giving to me.
mm.
And a lot of my face-to-face stuff isn't extremely emotional, but sometimes it can be. And oh, I was gonna say something. ADHD. Damn, sorry.
No, it's quite all right. When it's right, it'll come.
Yeah. Yep. What I was gonna say actually, some of my dance training and such has been like very emotional and having to like feel really big feelings with a group of people. Winter Guard, some of y'all nerds will know what that is.
Say it
Um,
again.
Winter Guard, it
Mm.
is marching band, the flags inside.
Okay.
So canned music, not with the actual instruments. And so a lot of that was feeling a whole bunch of feelings and having your face be seen and felt in a gymnasium. So the
Mm.
person at the back could receive that energy. So I got a lot of that in high school and college. Um, but yeah, I mean, for me, a lot of it is energy, exchanging energy with people and, you know, having them feel what I'm intending them to feel as far as it goes.
What about the ass shaking? How does that manifest? Is that joy? Is it rage? Is it any number of things?
It's mostly joy. I
Mm.
call it my Caribbean foolishness, because it is my Caribbean foolishness. Um, and I'm a first gen American, and a lot of that is just me kind of reclaiming and taking the joy back,
Mm.
from the way in which movement from where my people are from is looked down upon.
Where is that, may I ask?
Barbados.
Barbados. Okay.
So part of the, all of the Caribbean. We saw a lot of that yesterday at the Super Bowl. With just some
Yes,
of the
folks at
Caribbean
home,
people.
we're recording this on the 9th, so we've just had a huge spectacle of the Bad Bunny concert in the middle of the Super Bowl. I don't even know who won. All I've heard is the Bad Bunny stuff. I
I know, right? It was like
don't even know
the
who won.
football game around Bad Bunny's concert. It was the Seahawks, FYI.
Okay, okay. I've heard of them. I
Um,
know.
yeah. Um,
Local heroes for the
Local
Seattleites.
heroes.
Sure, happy
Yeah,
for you. Happy for you.
yes. I'm like, I know that because Seattle. Um, it's just fun.
Hmm.
And I like take back, kind of I dance the same, but I dance different. And it's just fun.
Hmm.
Joy. One of my besties, BB Sanchez, says that usually my Caribbean foolishness is the time that I look the most happy
Hmm.
when I'm performing.
Is that just an extension of it being authentic
Yeah.
to you, or okay?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it allows you to let go
Yes, exactly.
and yet tech in, basically. It allows you, I
Mhm.
guess that it's that combination. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have to admit, I don't know a whole lot about Barbados. Obviously, one of the most famous Barbadians.
Yep.
What would you call so? Yeah, is
Mhm.
Rihanna.
Yeah.
In terms of visibility,
Yes.
uh, and I think it is very frequent that we homogenize and we combine. There's a reason that we have tiki is because it just combines a lot of,
Mhm.
Polynesian and faux Polynesian sort of cultures. And I feel that Caribbean,
Hmm.
uh, as a representation in a lot of white America, gets pushed together and sort of
Yes.
medleyized. What is
Hmm.
distinctive, would you say, about Barbadian culture versus um, that sort of blending that we see so often?
Um,
Attitude, feeling, style.
yeah, I would say that there are a lot of similarities, especially once you get kind of to the Eastern Caribbean where Barbados is. Um, Honestly, Barbadians are really proud people.
Hmm.
They will always let you know that they're from Barbados. Um, as cousin Riri can attest to. Um, but I think it's understanding where like the music and the dance and things like that come from. I actually teach a class. It's a Caribbean fusion class. I actually taught it at BurlesqueCon in
Hmm.
2025. But I started with kind of explaining what countries are considered the Caribbean and where some of the music comes from.
Hmm.
So a lot of people know reggae.
Hmm.
That's from Jamaica.
Hmm.
Reggaeton comes from our Latino Caribbean cousins. And I kind of go through all that before I go through. Now, these are the moves that are very similar to.
Hey, this is Victor Devonne, and I like socks. I've always been very open about my appreciation for the fabric that goes on my feet, and I want you to enjoy them too. Please go to footclothes.com, look at the variety of fabulous novelty socks that do not suck, and indulge. You can get 10% off now with the name Victor Devonne as a promo code. That's VIKTORDEVONNE. Put it all together, no spaces, and enjoy. Hey, this is Victor Devon, and I would really like to thank the Patreon people. So thank you, Patreon people. You make my dreams come true. Stormageddon, Bo, Alex, Joyce, Sebastian, Oliver, Curly Bright, Shini, Tiffany, Faye, Foxy, Lucy Gander, Luna, Charlotte, Dottie, Clara, and to Courtney, goodness gracious. Thank you so, so much. I don't know, frankly, what else to do with the Patreon. So if you tell me things that you would like to see on it, whether it's just me talking, if it's some exclusives, if it's chatter of some variety, I would be absolutely delighted to contend with that. It just needs to be digested. So you can find me at WeBurlesque@gmail.com and you can let me know, or you can comment on the Patreon itself. Y'all are great, and I love you. And thanks for spending money on me. In terms of your aesthetic and in terms of the emo and goth representation, while of course there are performers of color within those genres, it does read very white mainstream.
Yes.
What is your relationship with that subculture growing up? That your representation being a black person,
Hmm.
um, in what is very painted white, as someone who paints themselves white himself. What was that experience?
Um, I didn't get too deep into it
Mm,
until I got older.
okay,
Um, as far as like liking what I liked what I
sure.
liked. But as far as like being an actual part of the culture, just wasn't where I felt comfortable, for obvious reasons. I grew up in a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. It's
Hmm.
fairly mixed, but it is, 45 minutes outside of Atlanta. So it's not as urban. Um, and the music I listened to, the videos I watched, I bought people's, CDs. But as far as being like in the culture, going to the clubs, things like that, that wasn't my experience. And my dad
Okay.
was a preacher, so there was that.
Same, I'm preacher's kid. What was
Yeah,
your
yeah.
denomination?
Church of God of Prophecy.
My goodness, walk me through that. That sounds so dramatic.
Yeah, it is very dramatic. It is very charismatic. It's very it's Pentecostal, so there's a lot of
Okay.
singing, dancing, tongues, dancing, moving, tambourines, fans.
But
And
praise oriented.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, praise oriented. But very jubilant and not so much like shame and sorrow and that sort of
Right.
thing. It's like get crunk for Jesus, that sort of
Right.
thing. Hmm.
I love that because there's so much of it, so much. I mean, I grew up UCC, which is United Church of Christ, which is very left and progressive. It's almost Unitarian.
Hmm.
And for those who know Unitarian Universalist, it's a combination of denominations.
Yeah.
Speaking of, a stew of or a goulash of folks. Um, and but I went to Catholic school, and
Mhm.
there's something really fascinating about the persecution culture
Mhm.
of a lot of Catholicism,
Yeah.
down to the hymns, down to the feast days, what is acknowledged.
Hmm.
And I find the rituals to be so fascinating. It's one
Yeah.
reason I love Christmas music is actually because I actually really love it because it's kind of culty and I'm kind of
Yeah.
into it. Not in really into the followers a whole lot, but
Yeah. No.
uh, what is your relationship with either spirituality or faith now? And do you think your former parishioners or whatever you would refer to them as would feel about burlesque as an art form?
Oof. Um, Burlesque as an art form, I don't think a lot of folks would feel that way.
Mm.
They would not see it as an art form.
Would they
I think,
think of it as the devil, or would they think of it as
um, sex work in a pejorative way.
sure,
Yeah. That it would be something that my parents would want to keep secret,
shameful?
shameful.
Mm.
So while we are getting crunk for Jesus, there are kind of, the mores that you need to
There's criteria.
uphold. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
criteria. There's
yeah.
criteria for getting crunk. Because I mean, even in high school when I did winter guard, I had a lot of folks that were really upset that I wasn't at church every single Sunday because I was doing competitions Saturday and Sunday.
Oh.
And that's, I'm in high school, it's PG, it's, that sort of deal. And so thinking about how upset people got then, as opposed to, I'm shaking my ass in a bar at night and I'm also taking my clothes off in the theater of 300 people. Like,
Well, as Billie Holiday say, if I want a cabaret all Saturday and go to church on Sunday, it's
exactly.
nobody's business if I
Yep.
do.
Yep. Sinners have souls
We
too.
contain multitudes. We contain multitudes.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm not a practitioner of the faith anymore, but it definitely obviously influenced me and how I move throughout the world and how I related to my dance.
Mm. What is so since so much of it is celebrational
Hmm.
for is Jesus largely? Is it
Yeah.
just do they believe in the Trinity?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
What are the feelings on Mary?
Um, she's not really mentioned as much. It's more of like she is
Sort of a vessel.
the vessel of
Yeah.
the physical manifestation of,
That seemed to be a lot of Christianity outside of Catholicism.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It is sort of fascinating. I mean, the the variances. I was actually talking to someone who I don't think they were raised particularly um they come they were born in Iran and they were talking about how their parents eschewed um the Muslim faith or any faith particularly because they just didn't want to deal with a lot of that. And when they came to the States, we were comparing notes because as someone who grew up UCC and I mean I stopped going when I was like 13,
Right.
but and then sort of became like a pagan. But
Don't we all?
well, but I mean, it was part of the life because my dad did it, and then
Yeah.
my mom also did it. Like there was tradition in that. There was a weekly, commitment, and then beyond that, I mean, there was always a rummage sale or a pancake breakfast or a something. Always.
Mhm.
Um, and so it was really sort of fascinating. Like we learn a lot about our own faiths, and we learn, I mean, probably a lot about Catholicism because I think it's probably the most represented in media,
Yeah.
even indirectly. Like any possession movie is gonna involve Catholicism.
Oh,
It's actually a really good selling point for God being real.
yeah.
The
Exactly.
whole point of a lot of those, like you would think that those wouldn't be viewed as pro-satanic. They're actually really good because, yeah. Um, but we don't talk a lot about like the difference between what a Seventh-day Adventist versus a Lutheran
Right.
versus a Episcopalian. Like, and usually those differences are so skin deep.
Right. Very. And when I went on my journey to figure out where I was going to go, or where I was, but I was led other ways, by family. I
Mm.
learned a lot about some of the differences in all of those denominations because, that's where you kind of go next.
Hmm.
And it's very interesting that there are a few things that folks hold on to, and it's like those couple of nuggets that
Mm.
make us different than them. It's similar, but it's different.
Right. Well, that would I assume would be a relationship with colonialism
Yeah.
hitting Barbados. Is that a traditional or a common faith based
Yeah.
in there?
Yes.
Okay. Is that
Christianity
why that was
is,
part of? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Christianity because it was the British who came in. Um, but we've been
Always
a
getting
republic
involved.
for 5 years now. So
Nice. Have you been back or been there?
um, I went a couple of times as a child, and I went back finally in 2024.
Mm.
Actually, our Airbnb was Rihanna's house Rihanna grew up in, which was really fun. Didn't realize that until after it was booked. We're like, sweet.
She's
Um,
everywhere.
yeah, she is everywhere. Had tour buses going by the house multiple times a day. Um, but yeah, 2024, just because, immigrants, poverty, traveling across the ocean is not cheap. So didn't get a lot of time going back until a couple years ago.
Yeah. Well, now everyone is really apprehensive, I'll use that word,
Mhm.
about international travel because of
Yeah,
the state of the world.
yeah.
How are things in your neck of the woods? Is it a little scary out there, or does it feel like at least a little pocket of sanity?
It's a little scary. I would say
This is Portland proper you're in right now.
yes, yeah, I'm in
Yeah.
Portland proper. But
Mm.
I'm like right on the outskirts of
Mm.
Portland, unfortunately. So a lot of the hullabaloo that's going on is not near me. Um, but at the same time, it is concerning. I've, got a lot of people in my life whose last names are quote unquote funny.
Mm.
And so that obviously keeps me aware and up. My husband is a black man. My girlfriend is a Mexican woman. So it's those kind of things that keep me mm, um, awake. But as far as traveling, I'm feeling okay-ish domestically, okay-ish. I feel like I'm going to start traveling with my passport domestically,
Hmm.
um, just for the sake that it has my citizenship.
Hmm.
Um, and I'll actually be going to Vancouver in March, and I'm taking Amtrak instead of going through TSA so that when I come back through the country,
Hmm.
I just feels a little bit better. I mean, I'm not quote unquote the target, but um, as we've seen,
Yeah. It
we all are.
it's well, somewhere, and as the
Some more than others.
whitest right here, I understand that I'm not necessarily the target, but I check other boxes.
Yes. Exactly.
But I don't necessarily have to worry about ice, specifically ice, unless
Yeah.
it looks like I am causing unless I'm giving them an excuse,
Right.
basically, to apparently shoot me in the face.
Mhm.
Um, as someone who you said you were first generation,
Yeah, I was born here.
you were born here. Well, I wasn't. That wasn't a check. That wasn't a
Oh,
I was. They're not on the line. I'm just curious, just for clarification. Are
yes.
you an only? What I was getting to was, are you an only child, or did you grow up with siblings?
I am the first of four.
First of four. Do you
Mhm.
feel that there was an expectation for you to sort of fulfill a certain
Mhm.
assimilation on your parents' behalf?
To a certain extent, yes.
Mm.
It was definitely go to school, get a good job. Um, you're the example for your cousins and your siblings because I'm the oldest, the first American in my family on both sides.
Hmm.
So there was that kind of like make good grades, you can get scholarships, go to school, do the extracurriculars. We're broke, so you need to have a job as well. Um, you know, there was a pressure to kind of be a good girl.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah, definitely be a good girl and to definitely be successful. Yeah, yeah. And
Do you
then
think, yeah, that,
sorry, I went ahead and
no, please.
thought it was a good idea to try to help people. I majored in psychology. So,
What was the interest in that? It's just you found yourself a good listener, a good advice giver? What was the thought?
um, honestly, I wanted to figure out what was wrong with me.
Valid.
Yeah, I was queer. I love everyone, and I was like, gay people are cool. Straight
Mm.
people are, the majority. But what about the people who like everybody?
Hmm.
And that really messed my head up.
Hmm.
Um, And so there was that. And I mean, I like patterns. I watch patterns and behaviors and things like that. So it all kind of culminated in that the first time I went to college. So
Was there a specific version of psychology that you were interested in beyond like sexual behavior, perhaps?
Mhm.
But
I really kind of wanted to be a forensic psychologist, criminal mind style,
ah,
and work for the FBI. But forensic psychologists are it's not as exciting as Criminal Minds makes it out to be. It's everything
No, yeah.
inside that room with the board and the the strings. Not out chasing chasing serial killers. But I kind of just ended up doing like community-based behavioral health and stuff, working with young adults.
Outreach,
Yeah.
really.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you think your advocacy comes from? Was that instilled by parental figures?
Yeah. It was my daddy always used to say, I don't need to tell someone I'm a Christian. They can see it by what I do.
Damn.
And so he was a preacher. My mother was a nurse. I have a brother, bless his heart, who is a sheriff, and my sister's an EMT. And so it's just kind of like music and helping people was just kind of the thing in our household.
Yeah.
hmm
I think that theatricality extends to that as
hmm
entertainers. I think that entertainment allows a connection between, and we ourselves become, the vessel, as it were. And so it's really interesting to have entertainers that are very quiet and unassuming off stage, but then can become very boisterous and very, who's like Robin Williams is a perfect example
hmm
of
Yes.
that. I mean, it's a sad ending, but it's sort of like the quintessential Tears of a Clown kind
Yeah.
of storyline. And then you also have people that I don't know how they do it, but they're able to maintain it 20, it appears. We never
Yes.
know what's going on behind everybody. Because even I think a lot of people thought Robin Williams was 24/7.
Right.
Um, that ability to turn it off and on,
hmm
as well as provide sort of that commiseration feeling. Uh, Burlesque, I guess, is sort of up in the air right now in terms of how the audience is seeing us, either as escape or as therapeutic.
Yeah.
Uh, as an audience member and as someone who knew burlesque a bit before, what do what do you look for in burlesque when you're receiving it?
That I feel something,
What do you want to feel? Anything?
anything.
Mm.
I'm about all of the emotions. I usually cry. I cry all the time for everything. Um, but I just want to feel it. I want to feel like the performer is also feeling it. Like they're not doing steps and they're not, this is my glove peel and it's not, this is my corset. It's the feeling that they're trying to give me with the music and the story and that whole thing. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be like, Vegas showgirl, a panel skirt and a front closed bra. If you can feel it, then I enjoy it.
What do you hope? Do you hope that therefore that's also what you are giving an audience member?
hmm
That sort
Yeah,
of exchange?
yeah. The energy exchange. I saw Zoe Jakes perform with Beats Antique. She's a belly dancer.
Hmm.
And I was in the front row and she was just doing her thing and she looked at me. It was probably something she never remembered, but the way that she looked at me, I felt it. I started crying. And I was like, I want people to feel like that when I make eye contact with them, when I'm performing. It's just all that emotion for whatever
Yeah.
was going on. I felt it.
I I have to admit I do love making audience members cry. Because I do find it to be in my way, in my egotistical, self-important, self-righteous kind of way. I like to think that I'm giving you permission, allowing you to have that moment of your own personal vulnerability. Because really, what I'm doing on stage, I'm well aware that you're dealing with your own shit, and I'm just facilitating what you're going through. I know you're looking at me as a metaphor, and that's fine.
I understand where my role is. I understand
Right,
what this is.
right. And so, but when we have that, and as someone who I learned at a fairly early age when I was around 12 or 13 that there was a cosmic loneliness that I felt. Um, And some of that was satiated by physical intimacy and relationships that I was able to then get when I was older.
Right.
And I'm married now, and I have a great deal of my own um, loneliness quelled in a
Hmm.
sense. But there is still something like I'm not scared of the sadness anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, there are times where in my last serious relationship, I didn't feel like I had permission, for lack of a better word, or I didn't feel safe
Very safe.
to just feel blah or just feel sad or just feel,
Mm.
one kind of way, blue, as some people would say.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky that the relationship that I am in presently, we both have had that. We're like, I just feel
Eh,
crummy, and
yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, I struggle, therefore, with monetizing and being productive with it, or
Yeah.
something like that in burlesque, perhaps. But I've done pretty good with that too.
Yeah. Right. It's a both and.
Yeah. Well, because I think if you allow yourself to be so raw, even when you're a vulnerable artist, when you're allowing yourself to be really, really seen in an audience, if you don't have certain protections in place, you're gonna
Mhm.
leave that stage wrecked.
Yes.
And I used to do that. I didn't have that protection because I hadn't yet gone through the things I had to go through to get through what I had to get through.
Right.
So now, if I'm leaving the stage with a particular, hopefully, unless
Yeah.
something's really going on,
Hmm.
hopefully I do feel, okay
Yeah.
after.
Hmm.
I might need a drink of wine or
Right.
just some cool
Exactly.
down time, but I'm not gonna sob. How about that?
Yeah, not intentionally. There have been a couple of times where I have sobbed, not
Mm,
intending to, put it all out there. It happened.
it happens. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
And hopefully you are in a safe place when it does, but we
Yeah.
can't all plan for it. We can't all expect it.
Mm-mm.
Um, I think sometimes that's one reason that always expecting the worst comes into a benefit, because then you
Yes,
sort of make your peace with it first.
exactly.
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jen Ponton,
And I'm Lillian Bustle,
and we're the hosts of All the Fucks.
a podcast about vulnerability.
But it's more than just that. It's nostalgia.
It's unrequited crushes.
It's the mortifying moments that make you want to crawl back inside your own belly button.
Ooh, and somehow it's sometimes about pelicans.
A pelican allegory, if you will.
Oh, I will.
So if your heart has ever felt like a skinned knee,
Oh, you'll fit right in as one of our fuck buddies.
All the Fucks. A storytelling podcast wherever you listen.
Tonight on Murder, She Wrote.
Hooray!
Hey. It's
Yeah,
kind of Piper Laurie and Brenda Vaccaro had a love child.
thank goodness.
I want to know her.
Nails. Yeah, where's her series? That's what
She's
I want.
fabulous.
The son is Joaquin Phoenix.
I know, isn't that nuts? And he is an ugly little kid. I'm sorry.
We're just like, hey, remember when this guy was in this obscure Broadway show in 1976?
Right? Look at him in those tight pants. Yum.
Well, because there's not
But
a
we
lot
do
really
get-
going on. It's
Yeah.
supposed I mean, unless you're listening to the dialogue, which frankly, audience at home, you can do without us. We're just
Yeah, do
learning
your own
about
work,
some of these
damn it.
backstory. But
Right.
Boswell put her up to it.
Yeah.
And then Trish had to be killed because she realized that Boswell didn't have her interests at heart because Teddy was the inheritor.
Yeah.
Playing her like a fiddle.
Oswell knew it, and Trish just gulped it down like one of those martinis.
And then tossed it onto the law.
And then lost her head. support Trish.
Trish loses her head. This is Viktor Devonne.
And this is Petra Fried.
And this is Tonight
on Murder, She Wrote.
What inspires you? What do you seek out in the world, whether it's media, whether it's experience, whether it's travel, or what have you? What feeds the artistic side of you when you're not literally on stage?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I think it's again, for me, it's just kind of the joy of watching people do what they're good at. So not just dancers per se. Like I'm the person who, when I get my nails done, I am in complete awe of the artwork that someone's doing. Or I could be watching someone, DJ at an EDM club, but watching their flow and how they get into it, watching people make things. I sing and I dance, but I don't draw. I don't art in that way. And seeing things like that and being completely like, it's witchcraft. It's beautiful, but it's witchcraft. And seeing those things, really just taking in art and joy as much as possible feeds me. But also being able to like be okay with the sadsies, like you were talking about, and kind of reflecting at some of my acts are very personal. You might not notice it because sometimes I'm also shaking my ass. But yeah, I just take it in, all of the feelings and all of the art and all of the movement and the connection. Just that's what feeds me is seeing people doing the thing that they're good at.
What are your references, do you think? Do you look at, I mean, obviously we've talked a little bit about some of the music choices that you've had. What in your mood board would you find in your Pinterest mood board of the mind?
Yeah. It really feels like ask me that question again, I'm sorry.
Sure. If you were to make a mood board in your mind about the things that inspire you as an artist or inform you, even indirectly, what would we see? What faces or portraits or representation would we see?
17-year-old me that wanted to dance and travel. Some of my dance instructors, or people that I've, performed with that have really impacted me as a person. I think there would be a lot of words about feelings. Yeah. And off to the side, kind of, I'm gonna wear a color other than black, red, or purple one day.
One day.
One day.
One day. Are you a manufacturer of your own costumes?
For the most part, I think the majority of the things I have not made are from Goth Fox, shout out. But a lot of the stuff that I have is mine. I mean, obviously repurposed Amazon Shein because bitches be broke and fat, but a lot of it is much to my chagrin done by hand. I don't like costuming. That's it. It's controversial.
No.
I don't like costuming.
No, it's an entirely different discipline, skill set, and passion. It's an entirely different one.
Yes.
And I have found I used to talk about this all the time, and I still do talk about it a little bit when I do character study or when I do character classes. The rule of the three. which is I say a burlesque performer usually falls into one of three categories. They are a dancer, a model, or an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not mean that you can't crossbreed, and it doesn't
Right.
mean that you can't thrive in all of these. But there's usually a core,
Mm-hmm.
there's usually a default, and some people push away from their default to get out of their own comfort zone, and that's cool.
Yes.
But we can kind of tell when
Mm-hmm.
you're moving, when you're going, which of these you're going. And some of this is also obvious if your history is in dance, or if your history is in still photography, or if your history is in theater.
Right.
And there's no wrong or right answer.
Exactly.
I have also found that there is a subgenre, which is the costumier,
Yeah.
which I find to be a subgenre of all three, which I find fascinating because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see it coming because I thought I knew it all. But there are actors who it's very clear what the costume. Margot Mayhem is a perfect example
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
because Margot also manufactures a lot of what she wears,
Yes.
and the way that she acts is often inspired by what she has put together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the clothing is still so important
Yes.
that it has to be acknowledged as well.
Mm-hmm.
When you see, uh, and it's different than someone who, and I mention him not because they're married, but because I know that she makes a lot of clothing for Samsonite,
Right.
and the Samsonite is also an actor, clearly, and it's not the same type of performance. It's not the same choices. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean disparate, like beyond just choices. It's just not
It's not the same.
constructed the
Mm-hmm.
same way. And so therefore, when a dancer creates their own dance costumes, that also will inform.
Mm-hmm.
And a model, I find fewer cross of that, but they
Mm-hmm.
do exist
Yeah.
because I don't find that a lot of models will make their own clothing,
Correct.
but they'll wear the hell out of it.
Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh
So if we go with my rule of three, which is highly scientific,
Mm-hmm.
would you say that you are a dancer who acts or an actor who dances?
I'm a dancer who acts.
Mm,
I am forever company. That's my vibe. Backup dancer,
mm,
company. I am a dancer who
ensemble.
acts. Mm.
Mm. Do you think you would have thrived in a chorus line situation, if or do you like being a soloist?
Um, Chorus line.
Mm.
I did a couple musicals in high school. And yeah, it was great. I was on stage all the time, but nobody knew me, but you could see me because I was on stage the whole time.
Yeah, you're creating you were world building. I
Hmm.
mean, um, we saw this actually yesterday with Bad Bunny's Super Bowl, which I'm
Hmm.
assuming you've seen the footage
I
of at
actually
least
have
some of
not.
it.
Not yet. I've seen
Uh,
some of it.
some of it, because everywhere.
Hmm.
So much of that was an ensemble piece, and it was so created with flops and set pieces, and so much of that was also maneuvered through the camera angles. And I know there was even some, I guess I'll call it criticism, or at least acknowledgement that a lot of it seemed more based on the video audience than per se the
Hmm.
stadium audience. And my feeling of that is, well, I think that's kind of always been the case since we've
Yeah,
televised the Super Bowl.
exactly.
Um, More and more every year. Like,
Hmm.
I know that was a major element for the weekend. That certainly was a lot of element for Gaga because she had to come up from a high uh, starting place
Yeah.
and then get to the main area. How do you feel being uh, in a live art form
Hmm.
present for an audience like that? And do you think that that could translate to film or to other depictions? As we document things more and more, I get really curious about how live entertainment might need to contend with more documentation for it
Yes.
to really live. As
Yeah,
it is, we only know certain Broadway shows because there happens to be a DVD of it.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it has to be part of it,
Mm,
right? Like at this point, um, to keep things going. Costumes will fall apart, but if I've got a video of a legend,
mm,
digital, we can keep it. Um,
yeah.
Even just as an individual and like watching my progress and watching where I'm going in my career and in my dance, it's necessary. But I will also say, I know that it was better in person than it will ever be on video.
Mm. Yeah, that's that live ephemera that
Hmm.
I struggle with because there's a part of me that really hates the intangible, and I want to own and have and hoard physical memory in
Yes.
such a way. If there were cybernetics and affordable cybernetics that would allow me to download experiences that I have,
Hmm.
if I could afford it, I would do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't give a
Hmm.
fuck. Oh, who knows what it might do to you in 10 years? I don't care.
I
I
don't
want to
care.
bring that to the theater and be able to watch that back whenever I want.
Yeah.
I hate ephemera.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
so funny I mean, but if you think about it, most of my burlesque career that's not literally on stage is archiving, is preserving. I mean, even with the tusks, it's a way of holding on to
Hmm.
I don't know. And we see this even with the Burlesque Museum shutting its physical location. It's
Yes.
that suddenly that's gone. It's
Hmm.
not because it's in storage,
Yes.
but effectively it's
Yes.
gone. It's gonna make Beehoff really interesting this year.
Yes. Yes. Quite. And I'm a new board
Yeah.
member too, so it's been an interesting ride, my first year and a half.
What is your role in that?
I'm just a general board member. I'm the
Mm,
newbie still trying to find my niche. So,
mm.
but
What
it's
do you
been
feel that your interest in might procure from maintaining the legend's viability as well as still celebrating the icons and the newcomers. I
yeah.
mean, it really is ecumenical.
Hmm. I really I'm new to burlesque, and so I felt that was necessary to kind of be there to know what the quote unquote kids are saying because I'm still a baby myself. But also kind of bring in the fact that, I know theater, I know performing, and I'm also someone who does appreciate the legends. Um, Not a lot of new people do. And so um, figuring out a way to pull in the new folks that are like me, that are new to this art form, um, and help them see how honoring word tenuous
Mm,
the icons and the legends can help support and influence their own careers.
hmm hmm
um that's my hope, is what I can add to the museum. So
mm. You will, as someone who started their burlesque career and then very soon after went to
mhm.
Beehoff, was that important to you? What necessitated your visitation right after
um
starting?
yeah, I debuted in May of 2022 and my first Beehoff was 2023. um I'm one of those nerds that likes a convention.
Mm,
I love a convention. I love a conference. But what I really wanted to do was to meet legends, to see, the people that maybe one day will be my contemporaries perform, and to just take that all in and to meet people, um, get people where I've just like followed them for the past year and a half on Facebook and then like put an actual name, like put an actual in real life face to people, to just meet folks and learn things and just soak up as much information as I can.
mm. Are you still a sponge or a researcher when it comes to new information?
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
What other things do you read up on or investigate?
Within burlesque, you mean?
Outside of burlesque even. Yeah.
Um,
We're allowed to like other things. I know it seems
yes.
like that's all we do.
What?
I know. I know. I know.
Yeah, I mean, with my background in kind of like behavioral health, obviously, I'm continuing to look into that, especially thinking about the way that our country is right now and kind of how we've gotten there and patterns and whatnot. But as far as burlesque goes, is trying to kind of understand where I fit and find the people that are like me in the past. And obviously the museum has done a good job, but just trying to figure out what other people might be we missing, um, where can I connect to something that someone has done before.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, most
Yeah.
of my research is for myself, so not necessarily anything I would share with folks as far as it goes, but yeah, talking to people, learning things, and seeing how I can connect to the past to take stuff forward.
Well, we look at some of these fabulous 8x10s and promotional photos of people we only have names for. Like we don't
Yeah.
have any
Hmm.
other documentation, but the fact that they exist in these print forms is already kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Um, it shows honestly, it shows a lot. It shows us as burlesquers that we need to that documentation is important.
Yeah.
Because even if that name doesn't mean a whole lot to the general public,
Hmm.
there's an odd sacredness to us, to a lot of us.
Hmm.
Um, and when those little bits and blurbs do come out of a breakfast with the legends or a BurlyCon interview, these little snatches of stories, there's something so holy about them. I don't
Hmm.
know how else to
Yeah.
explain it. There's something that's so, and I think part of that is because it also validates us. It
Yeah.
sort of gives us immortality in an
Hmm.
interesting kind of way.
Hmm.
And it sort of justifies that we're not wasting our time doing this
Yes.
now,
Yeah.
perhaps. If that's my psychoanalysis. I'm a deeply analytical person as well. I look for a lot of nuance. I look for a lot of under the surface, and I am a judgy bitch.
Yeah.
So
Same.
all of that together, yeah, and I feel that there's so much lack of self-awareness in the arts because we're
Mhm.
so focused on ourselves.
Yeah.
And burlesque people are not immune to that.
No.
And sometimes because we're whatever we are as judgy bitches, uh, we can get a little mean, we
Yeah.
can get a little stupid, and we can
Hmm.
dig our heels in when necessarily it doesn't have to be that serious.
Yeah.
But everything seems so serious.
Yes.
And it is
It is.
somewhat. Yeah. Yeah.
Something.
Some things are serious. I mean, usually what's hiding behind door number three is what's serious.
Yeah.
You just have to get there. What's
Mhm.
on the surface is usually fluff.
Yeah.
But the motivate, and I think a lot of us are very on edge because we're
Mhm.
seeing the rest of the country sort of fail us as allies and advocates. So when we see each other, we're like, what about you? How about you? Are you on my side?
Exactly.
And we're seeing the use of the word witch hunt again, which I think is interesting.
Hmm.
I don't necessarily, I think that's a little reductive,
Hmm.
but I don't have an answer for it. I'm sort of just spitballing here. I'm not suggesting that anyone's right, actually.
Right.
God, I think everybody is sort of but I'm not, but I see why. That's the thing
Yeah.
also is that that's my take from it is, oh, that's what we're going through, is we're going through a deep-seated distrust,
Yeah. Yeah.
suspicion,
Hmm.
and that sucks.
Yeah. It's like presumption of ill intent.
And that's, again, I guess that's because we've been hurt before.
Hmm.
But uh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. I
Yeah.
felt compelled. Um, do you find that you have found your community pretty ostensibly in your career?
Yeah.
Who are some of your besties? You mentioned BB Sanchez, who I love.
Yes, she is amazing. Megs Madrone, the three of us do make up Sasshole.
Mm-hmm.
Really awesome burlesque group. And those two are definitely my besties. I call us the Burlicule. And they are that third option of breaking down and losing my shit within a closed context so that I can come out into the world and not try to blow everything up. The fuck this, I haven't gotten into this festival, or goddamn this corset I can't find in my size. And then I can kind of come out sane and they can talk me off the ledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You check in with them too. That's important.
Yeah. Oh, and accountability buddies, right? Like,
Yeah.
did you really finish rhinestoning those gloves like you said you were going to?
Okay, so grind-turning gloves, there's
Hmm.
enough give on them where if you just do it flat, I feel like all of those are gonna pop right off. Do you
Hmm.
have like a form or do you stuff it full of stuff?
Yeah, I excuse me. I leave the cardboard that's in it in the fingers.
Uh-huh.
And then I stretch it over a red wine bottle, the one that's got the skinny neck and then it's fat all the way down, and that's how I stone it. So
I'm
that
there
looks like a
for it.
freak because I've got two empty wine bottles in my crafting area, but yeah.
That sounds like an artist.
Right?
Uh, well, before I let you go, and I thank you for being so generous with your time, and I'm so glad that we got to meet each other in 2023 at the
Yeah.
Burlesque Hall of Fame, and have since seen each other at least once a year ever
Yes,
since.
at least.
Um, and I am looking forward to BHoF this year.
Hmm.
Uh, it's become it was not something that I expected as uh as a I don't know. When I first started, I didn't know it. And then when I learned about it, I think the first time it really got on my radar was the year that Lou Henry Hoover won,
Hmm.
because that was actually someone I had met. Um, and I was working in New York at that time, and I was at Stonewall when I found out that he won. And that was really cool. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And that was best boylesque category. And was it, yeah, I think that was the year Medianoche won too. So it was another hometown hero. That was another New Yorker that had won.
Hmm.
So and then I sort of learned more about, who the folks were and moved to this side of the world. And I
Hmm.
said, oh, well, I might as well start going. Went, and it really did change my life. It really, really has. It's these folks that I get to see in this circumstance and sort of celebrate and cheer and help at the merch table and do all
Yeah.
of these things. Uh, I encourage folks, audience listening. I don't always acknowledge you, but I know you're there. Um, go, go if you can. I know it's an expense. I know it's
Yeah.
a burden. But everything's an expense and everything's a burden.
Yeah.
And there are people who do scholarships, and there are people who do donation-based funding,
Mhm.
and there are people who are always looking for roommates.
Yeah,
So
that was about to say the roommate option. That's how you
roommate
got to do
situation, and they're always looking for volunteers. I know they're scaling back a little bit on the volunteers this year. Um, to what end, I don't know. I haven't gotten involved in the board meetings yet. But look forward to it.
it. Hmm.
Oh, will I see you there?
Ancestors willing, yep.
Okay, that's the answer for the rest of the year.
Right.
Yes, yes, yes. That is the answer for the rest of the year. Um, Darling, can you please tell the folks at home all the ways they can keep in touch with all the things you got going on?
Yes, yes. The easiest way is Linktree, and it's Obscura Fox.
All right.
All my stuff
Takes
is
you
there.
takes you right where you need to go.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of this and for me barely scratching the surface. I know that we contain such multitudes, but I look forward to hopefully trotting another board with you.
Yeah.
It was exciting to work with you at Fatlesque, and
Hmm.
which I think was that officially our first show together.
Um, Quite possibly.
It may have been, and you did double duty because you also were with Sasshole as well. So
Yes,
you were in the group, and then you soloed.
I
But
did.
it's been a pleasure getting to know you.
Thank you.
May you thrive and bloom
Yes.
in this ancestors bullying.
Right.
And I'll see you around.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you for
my
having me.
darling. Mwah. Be well, audience at home. Thank you for listening. If you got dollar bills, patreon.com/WeBurlesque. Yay! Okay,
Woo.
bye. WeBurlesque the podcast, created, developed, and edited by Viktor Devonne. Podcast artwork by Logan Laveau. WeBurlesque the podcast cover art photography by Atticus Stevenson. Theme song, On a 45 by This Way to the Egress, used with permission. All incidental music via Pixabay under the expectation of fair use. Please visit WeBurlesquePodcast.com for notes on this and every other episode. Follow WeBurlesque and Viktor Devonne on just about every platform, and support the podcast via patreon.com/WeBurlesque. Don't got the cash? Please follow, subscribe, and give 5 stars on every platform you can get your hands on. It really does help. All original material is owned by Viktor Devonne and White Elephant Burlesque Corporation. All other materials property of their respective copyright. No infringement, while likely, is intended. This episode, and all episodes thereafter, are in memory of Lucky Charming. Miss you, friend. And that's it.
Woohoo!